Go. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's time for our weekly review. Wally, you're up.
Boo.
Boo, Wally. Boo you. Boo you.
Boo this man.
Boo this
Our
man.
worst movie we've watched. And
Ever.
It's not close. It's not close.
I'm having a fugly sweater. Have you ever had one of these?
I don't believe
No.
that I have.
I'm about to try it for the first time. Go
What
ahead.
brand is that even?
It's Ithaca beer.
Oh,
Ew.
okay.
All right, so Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Whoa.
How do I describe this?
How do you
Not
describe it?
good.
A bad student film.
I am all for like bad movies that
Yeah,
are
me
so
too.
bad they're
But this
good.
this is just a whole nother
and
just
like-
can't follow it.
Yeah, it's just like I'm all for like a fun, dumb movie that like takes itself too seriously or it's just
Yeah.
silly, wacky. But this movie just like
This is not that. It's too far.
it's
Too
just
far
like,
into the dump.
It's
Yeah.
so bad. But I will say, like, it's clearly the inspiration for so many like bad movie skits and stuff in movies and TV and stuff. Because the way they all talk, the
Yeah.
way they all stand around while everyone's talking, like it's like everything you see when like SNL or something makes fun of like a bad movie. It's like this is the direct inspiration for it.
I think this is like the first. I think there were bad movies before. When did this come out? 59?
59.
I think there were bad
1559.
movies, like movies people didn't like before that
Mhm.
they weren't enjoyed, like anything. But I think this is the first truly like, this is a piece of shit. How did this get on
Yeah.
the cinema? And like I think this actually led to a bunch of shitty movies being made. Like anybody can make a movie. Look how bad this is.
Yep. So we start with Criswell.
Yes, Criswell.
The-
Who was
Who
played
was
by
a TV character, I think?
he was played by Bill Murray in the movie Ed Wood.
Yes.
Okay. So he's
Oh,
talking
okay.
about predicting the future.
And this is weird. This is just like what is the point of this?
There's so much narration.
Yes.
So much narration.
Is that Ed Wood doing the narration?
No. It's the Bill Murray
Right.
character. we just
Oh, it
said.
is Criswell the whole time.
It's
okay.
Criswell.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not Ed Wood.
No, so Criswell is talking about predicting the future, and he's really just rambling on about nothing at all. He's trying to create interest in the viewer, and he finally asks if the viewer's heart can take grave robbers from outer space.
Unfortunately, mine could. It did not give up halfway through.
You wish you had died?
Uh,
Just a short
So-
hospital trip that would have avoided.
Yeah.
we see people standing
two-night
around a
stay.
fresh grave at a funeral for an old woman, and it turns out it was the wife of Bela Lugosi's character, who was never given a name.
We'll just call him
You just-
Bella.
The old man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That-
the old
I'm
man.
calling him Bela Lugosi, or
Which
Bella.
is funny because in Ed Wood, the movie Ed Wood, which we watched a while ago,
Mhm.
last year,
It's
I guess,
actually. Oh no. Yeah, go
We-
ahead.
they spent a lot of time on Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, that was like the whole
courtship
movie.
of Bela Lugosi and him doing
Yeah.
the scene with the flower and all this stuff. And it really isn't that important in this movie at all.
No.
So, two grave diggers begin to dig a grave after the funeral ends. Okay. Why? Okay.
Were they just burying her?
Yeah. Then we go to two pilots who are trying to land at Burbank. Their conversation gets interrupted because something flies past them, and they look out their window and they see a flying saucer.
Do we need to talk about the flying saucers?
Yeah,
But
talking
you
about him.
clearly see the string.
The string. Yeah.
It's
There's
just
some
like
kind of model.
like
Yeah.
my niece could make this, and then
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
even like no effort went into making this. This took 10 minutes to craft.
If you had 10 minutes and the script, you could make a better movie with your iPhone than this.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So the pilots don't want to tell the passengers about the UFO. We see the UFO flying around, and then it seems to land at the graveyard. The gravediggers hear a noise and they get spooked out, so they leave. They stop when they see Elvira, and she's a zombie
Yeah, where did she,
alien.
did
Is
she
she
come
the
from
wife?
the ship?
No, I
She's the
think
wife.
No,
she was
she's
the wife who
Bella's
died.
wife, obviously.
She is the
Oh.
wife. Yes. Oh, obviously, yes. No, this wasn't
Obvious.
obvious until
Obviously.
No part of this was.
Yeah, what?
It wasn't obvious. She's just there.
yeah.
And now
So-
when she gets zombie infected or whatever, she does
Yeah.
like the look
She
at my
does like a
fingernails.
Frankenstein walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is her waist like? She has the smallest waist.
Yeah.
If you
Of course
look at
it,
it,
yeah.
tiny waist.
So then we go to Bella, who leaves his house still in grief. The Crispell says his house only reminds him of his wife. He picks a flower that she had planted, and he drops it after being overcome with sadness.
Now in the Ed Wood, this was made out to be like a real gutting scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's
didn't
not.
do it for me.
It makes no. It makes no difference.
Yeah.
Crispell says he leaves the home never to return again because he immediately gets hit by a car off screen.
Yeah. What the
He just
fuck?
walks into
I
traffic.
guess at least we didn't get the dummy flung off a car.
Yeah.
Yes, we didn't get that scene.
We did get dummies though. We
Oh,
did get dummies.
Oh, we did.
I
Oh,
assume he committed suicide, right? He just
I
couldn't
would
live
guess.
without her anymore, so he got hit by a car. I think off screen.
Yeah. So then we see some mourners coming out of a mausoleum, and the one just explains that he was buried in a crypt because of an old family superstition, even though his wife was buried in the ground.
Seems like that
They-
superstition did not work out for him because they both died twice.
They begin to leave the graveyard and discover the dead bodies of the grave diggers.
Which
Is
are
that what you're
dummies.
talking about, the dummies?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're just dummies. They're
I
not
have
the
a
guys.
question. We're about to go and hear some conversations about how this is part of the plan, whatever, making these dead bodies do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Dumb plan.
Why not the grave robbers? Why did they just let them be dead?
You can't.
Why didn't they?
trying to
Why
look
didn't they? Why didn't they raise an army of dead?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the dead people that were already there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do they need people? They needed. They say it. They needed fresh dead bodies. But yeah, you're right. They don't.
Yeah, it's got to be they needed fresh dead bodies.
There's something
But
up
not the grave
here.
robbers.
It's because the grave robbers like left the set and probably remember in the Ed Wood movie how he had to like compromise a bunch of times and that's what made the movies bad according to the.
Right.
I'm guessing this is part of it. Like they just weren't available, so he was put dummies out instead. Because there's other dead bodies that are real people.
So.
So
All right,
it's just,
so
it's just shit.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
drizzling shits.
We see the police get in their car and drive to the graveyard, and this is where we meet Inspector Daniel Clay, who is played by Tor Johnson.
Yes.
Was
the
Is he the wrestler?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the
he's the
reason that we
wrestler.
can watch it.
'Cause you never. I don't think you ever. I don't think you ever said last episode who
Oh,
the
yeah.
person was, and I'm like,
No.
wait a minute, and then I remembered. Oh wait, he's playing. George the Animal Steel played him because he was a wrestler. Fuck.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Inspector Clay asks about the situation, and a uniformed officer tells him that the medical examiner was there and the morgue wagon is on its way. They already got the statement from the people who found the bodies. Clay decides that he wants to go take a look around, and the lieutenant is nervous about him going off by himself, so he decides to get a flashlight from the car and take a look around.
Oh yeah, and the thing is about this guy is
his conversation was
is
hilarious.
truly just like a terrible
fuck?
actor.
Everyone in this is a terrible actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minus like the head alien guy who's like really going for it,
Yeah.
like trying to like this is my big break. Let me get this going, but he's really not. He's still not good.
They say that the bodies look like a wild animal had gotten to them. And
How?
then we see, I don't
How
know.
we see how they kill people later. It's like,
Yeah.
weren't
one of-
ravaged. They get pushed over.
One of the pilots from the plane is home, and he and his wife talk about the police sirens at the graveyard, and then they talk about the UFO that he saw. But he was sworn to secrecy by the Army as soon as he got off this plane, even though he wants to tell the world what he saw. And that's when another UFO flies past and knocks them to the ground. The UFO
Kill
goes
'em.
past.
Why don't
it goes
UFOs? Why don't they have like weapons?
I don't know.
Not in the plan.
Stop asking questions.
They developed a better bomb than the nuclear bomb, but they have no weapon.
Yep.
A more devastating bomb,
Right.
not a better bomb.
They know how to have a crazier bomb than the nuclear bomb.
Yes. So the UFO goes past the graveyard, and everyone gets knocked to the ground except for Inspector Clay. He watches the UFO land in the distance. He walks past a crypt, and that's when Bella emerges from his crypt in his classic Dracula style, and he
Yes,
starts
why-
following Clay.
Why does we get Frankenstein and Dracula based on
Zombies.
I don't know what.
So Clay finally notices him, and then sees Elvira as well.
Yeah.
He opens fire on both of them, but neither of them are affected by his gun.
Nope. Don't even budge.
Nope. The other officers hear the noise and go looking for Clay, and they find him dead. So now the lieutenant is in charge. He tells the uniform to go call the morgue wagon back. We see Clay's funeral, and it's watched over by Elvira. Then we see 3 UFOs fly over Hollywood Boulevard, and now everyone around the country sees them. It's all over the newspapers now.
Yeah,
We see
but
a
then,
montage. Yeah,
it's still confusing about who knows and who doesn't know.
They print a newspaper front page, LA Times or whatever it is, saying that they're UFOs.
Yes. But then the guy later on is like, no.
Sworn to secrecy. Who'd you tell?
What?
Well, everyone knows.
Yeah.
Yep. So we get a montage of the UFOs flying around, basically all over the country.
Why do you even need the pilot then if he's like supposed to be sworn to secrecy and that's supposed to be a storyline and they just don't use it?
Because he's got the wife.
I guess. Who cares about her though?
Then we see the Army trying to shoot the UFOs out of the sky with rockets, but the rockets have no effect on the UFOs. Or
I love
just
this.
Oh, they miss every time? I don't know.
Yeah.
Stock
really
footage of Army vehicles.
Yes.
1950s stock footage of actual military vehicles in different battles that have nothing to do with this.
Yep.
Hilarious.
The 3 UFOs fly off and disappear, and then we get 2 Army guys talk about how there have been past experiences with the UFOs, and that the Army didn't always fire at them. They had first tried to contact them.
Or did they? Doesn't seem like they did.
And then he says that eventually the UFOs attacked a small town.
Are we to assume that's the dead thing? The dead people?
I guess. I don't know. Now we go to the aliens on their mothership.
Oh my god.
They're literally just humans.
Yep.
When did Star Trek come out? Original series.
66.
So this is like, some of this is a little Star Trekian. Like,
Kind of, but
it's
still.
bad guys wear like sashes in the original series. Like, I'm bad because I wear a purple shirt with a sash.
But it's trying. What year was this? 59?
Yeah.
The thing is the day the Earth stood still was 1951, and that's what this movie is. The Day the Earth Stood Still is a movie about an alien lands his ship and is there because nuclear weapons, and there to warn like warn them that you guys have gone too far, blah blah blah. But it's actually like one of the best movies ever. But this movie like is
So
trying to
this
do
movie
this.
ripped that off.
It's trying to do the same thing, but it's the exact opposite. But yeah, The Day the Earth Stood Still, not the 2008 remake with Keanu. The Day the Earth Stood, the original one with Watu or whatever. Klaatu is one of my favorite movies ever. Love that movie.
So they talk about how they tried to contact the government, but the government has denied their existence. So they decide to use Plan 9, which Plan 9 is to bring back the dead with electroshocks.
God.
I wonder what the
That's
first 8 genius plans were that they decided this is the best
Yeah.
one.
Plan 9. And then to name the movie after this shitty plan.
Yeah. Yep. So the humans who can think will always pose a problem to the aliens, so they must use the dead to kill the humans.
Do they want to kill them all, though?
I have no idea.
Apparently,
It's a mixed message between all the different things that happen with the aliens. The messages they send to the army are totally different than what the Grand Poobah says. And what the Grand Poobah says is totally different than what the other guy says in the ship on the ground at the end. It's like totally different things.
Yep. Anyways, the pilot and the UFOs return to Earth, and the pilot and his wife are talking about her leaving the house to go back to stay with her mother while he's away. He's worried about her, and he knows something isn't right at the graveyard, which they live right next to the graveyard.
Which the only scene I actually laughed at is later when he's on the plane. The stewardess comes in and she's like, I told you not to buy a house next to the graveyard.
Yeah. His wife tells him not to worry, though. She's going to miss him, but he kisses her goodbye and waits for her to go inside to lock the door.
Does she?
Nope.
Doesn't seem like she did.
Whatever. So he's flying the plane, and his co-pilot strikes up a conversation with him because he's been quiet the whole time. The flight attendant comes in and tells him that if he's worried about his wife, he should have ground control call his wife to check up on her.
This conversation is like what you talked about. Just
awful
acting, not natural at all. It's like, hey, you're not talking.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then it's all over the place. They're talking about this, and then they talk about this, and then they go back to A, and then back to B. It's what the fuck. So the co-pilot then tries to make a date with the attendant, but she says no. And then they talk about how weird it is to have a house next to a graveyard. And then the co-pilot tries to get her to go on a date with him again, and she jokes around with him. And then we go to the Bela Lugosi walking around the graveyard for no reason.
Yeah.
just being a creep.
Yep.
Just walking around, lifting his arms up and down.
Yeah, he walks towards the house, which I thought he was going back to his house. But
Oh no.
Then we get the
why does he need to break in there or walk in?
Because there's a sexy lady there by herself, and he's a predator.
Yep.
Ground control calls the pilot's wife and tells him she's fine. Oh, she tells him she's fine. Okay.
Even though she's not. 5 minutes later.
2 seconds after she gets off the phone, Bella walks in, and she runs around him. She's in a room with only one exit door, and he walks through that door.
He's got bad shuttle cone drills, He can't move laterally.
Anyways, she runs right around him.
He's a zombie.
Runs into the graveyard, and she trips over the dirt. As
she runs into the graveyard.
Her.
An undead dude from the graveyard comes into your house, and she, instead of running away from the grave, runs into the graveyard.
Mm-hmm. Trips over dirt as Elvira watches her. Then we get to see a montage of a grave bubbling, Bella walking around, Elvira walking around, and the wife running around.
No
By
Benny
a
Hill
montage,
music
I
though,
mean
so
a
I didn't
fucking
laugh.
montage.
If it was Benny Hill, it would have been perfect.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to laugh, but I didn't hear the music, so
Finally, we see dead zombie Clay, Inspector Clay, exit his grave. His tombstone rolls into his grave too. The wife runs away from the graveyard towards the road, where someone stops his car, sees her, and he helps her into it.
So this is not the first time this happens. I think it happens a few more times, but they use this road over and over and over again, and they show a car driving on it in the daylight. And then they
Yes.
cut to the cemetery. It's in full black.
Very dark.
Yep.
And then they cut back to the car in full daylight. And
Yep. Anytime they're in the cemetery, it's pitch black.
yeah, but anytime there's a car driving, it's full daylight. And
Bela Lugosi walking around.
right. He leaves the crypt and then walks into daylight and then walks out of daylight at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if this movie, it's because this movie was colorized, because it wasn't in color originally. So maybe shooting the car driving down the road wasn't as obvious until they changed it to color. But still, black and white movies, when it's daylight, you can still kind of tell.
Yeah, it was hard to see the graveyard scenes because it was so dark.
Yeah. Very
so this guy drives away just before Bella gets to him, even though he was having engine trouble, and the three zombies return to the graveyard. A police car pulls up to the graveyard. The cops start searching the graveyard. Elvira and Clay walk onto the UFO. The aliens turn off the device that's controlling them. Bella also enters the UFO. The cops hear the UFO and talk about the pilot's wife and the guy who helped her, because they don't believe anything, because the one guy thinks that the guy who helped the wife was drunk, and the other cop says no. Well, the wife says the same thing, but she wasn't drinking.
I hate these cops.
Yeah,
they're terrible. I don't know who's who, minus the one guy who has different clothes.
Yeah, they hear the sound of the UFO. Then they go investigate Clay's grave, but they can't tell whose grave it is because the headstone fell down into it. The lieutenant tells the uniform to actually get into the grave. Took them like 5 minutes to get in, convince the guy to get into the grave and to then find out whose headstone it was. But they finally figure out that it was Inspector Clay's grave. Now we go to
Which you'd think at least one of these cops was probably at that funeral too. But.
They were all at it. They say that they were all at it.
Oh right.
Yep. And one of them immediately.
One says it does look familiar.
Yeah, this looks familiar around here. Like, what the fuck, guys?
You guys are supposed to investigate crimes.
Was this also when the one uniform cop says, "Yeah, that's why I'll always be a uniform, and you're an inspector."
Yes, he does.
Because he's dumb.
So we go to the Pentagon, and we get a general and a colonel discussing the UFOs and the contact that they've had between them.
This is like a different movie. It's almost like it's from a different movie.
The Pentagon has made a computer that translates any language into English. So they play some of the recordings that
hell of a discovery.
Yeah, that they've received from the UFOs. Basically, the recordings talking about how the aliens are so much more advanced, and they're only there to help save the planet, but they will become hostile if the humans are hostile.
And because this is America, we shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
You want to save the planet? Great. Let's fire some rockets at you, and then we'll figure it out.
And if you can dodge them, then we'll talk.
The colonel is getting sent to San Fernando, which is where everybody is right now.
Sent to the graveyard, because of course.
Yep. Because of the UFO activity. He is to find the aliens and try to make contact with them and figure out what the aliens want.
We already know what they fucking want. They told you.
Exactly. he's given confidential reports that he's supposed to read on the plane. We go to the alien ship. They report that their transmissions were unsuccessful but have begun Plan 9. The female alien goes to get Clay. The alien leader takes 2 ships away from his alien officer because he's upset that the ships have been seen at the scene of their operations. Clay comes in and almost chokes the officer because of the electro gun was malfunctioning. The leader examines Clay and asks about the other 2 zombies, and he decides to form a plan. Clay is brought back to the ship by the female alien. The leader tells the officer to use Bella as a decoy. So his plan is to make Bella go into a house and then they're going to turn off their electrode gun and then turn on the decomposition ray to cause fear. So that the aliens are then going to use the other dead bodies to march on the capitals of the world so that they can gain control. The plan makes no fucking sense.
I was more confused when you just tried to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He walks up on their patio party and gets shot, but nothing happens, but then gets shot by a laser and then turns from Bela Lugosi into a skeleton that you get from the dollar store inside of Bela Lugosi's robe.
Yeah.
And then he disappears?
This is literally the next scene that I'm about to talk about.
But that's their plan. It makes no sense.
No. The colonel is talking to the pilot and his wife about their experiences. The lieutenant is also there. They say that the wind was neither hot or cold, but strong enough to keep them pinned to the ground. Bella walks through the graveyard again. The human conversation stops when they start to hear something, and the officer in front of the house starts to smell something terrible. He finally sees Bella and backs up towards the others. They all see Bella and begin to fire at him, but he attacks the uniformed officer. The aliens use their ray to turn Bella into a skeleton.
We killed the thing you're afraid of. Gotcha.
This movie,
Which he was absolutely going to kill every single one of you.
Yeah.
Easily.
The uniform officer is woken up and is still freaking out. And they all take the police car to the graveyard where Elvira is lurking about. She does fucking nothing.
She fuck all in this movie.
Yeah.
Fuck all. She doesn't do anything. She just wanders around in a circle. They probably got that all in one day.
Yep.
She goes into the fucking fortress one time.
And we don't even see her in the fortress.
Oh, she just walks to the door, but we never see her.
I don't think we ever saw her on the.
I thought when they like deactivated them earlier, she was one of the ones that walked in.
Okay.
I think you're right. I think she was there.
Yeah, she was there.
I think.
Right.
Does she push over somebody and kill him later? Or am I making that up?
I think you're making that up.
She is the one that kills the grave diggers, but that's off camera.
We don't see that. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, the wife and the uniform stay at the car while the lieutenant, the colonel, and the pilot start investigating the graveyard, and they find Clay's grave again. You know, all these people actually have names. Yeah.
What?
All these cops have names?
Yeah, like the pilot has a name, the colonel has a name, the lieutenant has a name, but I don't know.
No, it doesn't matter.
But yes, Bill, this is the classic horror movie split up.
Yep. Leave the weak one by herself.
Are there no locks? Do locks not exist in this movie? Because when she's supposed to lock herself in the house, he just opens the door and walks in earlier. And then in this part,
it's 1959.
Is there no locks on a car?
The more trusting time, I guess. So they find Clay's grave again. The alien officer wants them to be discovered so they can put an end to the people who are meddling in the graveyard. They send Clay to deal with the uniform and the pilot's wife. The three men see a flashing light in the distance and go investigate that, and they find the UFO. Clay knocks out the uniform, and the wife begins screaming before she faints. The three men, or the aliens, open the door and let the three men inside. The alien
Great idea.
officer tells the female alien that they need to kill the humans because otherwise humans will eventually destroy the entire universe.
Yeah, and this is where he explains that they have that bomb, right?
Yeah, the men enter the room, and all of a sudden they can now all understand each other.
He turned
No,
on. He says that he turned on their universal communicator or whatever
Okay.
machine.
The three men immediately start threatening the aliens.
America, fuck yeah, let's pull our guns.
Yep. And the alien officer says they probably shouldn't do that, and he turns on the TV, and it shows Clay carrying the wife.
Man, they got the whole place bugged.
The aliens came only to talk to ask for the humans' help, but the Earth governments have ignored them. Aliens explain how the human weapons have grown too deadly too quickly, and that's why the aliens want them to stop. And they explain that there is a bigger bomb a bigger bomb than the hydrogen bomb, and they call it the solaranite because it blows up the sun.
Blows up the particles of the sun's rays.
Which
could
eventually
destroy
will,
the
blow
whole
up
universe.
the sun and destroy a whole universe. The pilot thinks this isn't a bad idea because now the USA will be the strongest country in the world.
Great, thanks for the idea.
The alien's like, you're so fucking dumb. He says that violent, headstrong men are the reason the world is terrible because they don't use their head. The alien explains how the solaranite bomb actually works, and it would explode the universe.
Which is fucking stupid because you don't even want to not give them the information about how to make the bomb or anything about the bomb.
They say that, when a country blows up another country to protect itself, that's a good thing. So it's just their planet wants to destroy the Earth because in order to protect itself. So how could this be wrong, basically? Another police car pulls up next to the first one, and they find the uniform who had called for help.
My God.
He tells them that Clay was the one who hit him, and we see Elvira lurking again. They have to find the others. The lieutenant wants to take the aliens to the police station. All right, buddy, I'm gonna take you to the police station.
Let me book you
Really?
down. Let me take you downtown. Figure out what's really going on here.
Oh my God! The alien tells him to look out the window, and that's when we see Clay has the pilot's wife. The other two police officers see the eerie light, and they walk up behind Clay. One of them is going to hit Clay on the back of the head and run away so that while Clay chases him, and then the other officer can get the wife. But he hits him in the back of the head, and Clay just gets knocked out. And the alien says it's only because the electrode ray is off, and he goes to turn it back on, but the lieutenant stops him. They all start fighting. Female alien tries to launch the ship. The colonel is trying to open the doors. The pilot is fighting the male alien. Somehow a fire starts. The humans all escape the ship. The aliens are still on board when it takes off. The uniform sees that Clay's body is now a
skip
skeleton.
over that special effect? The flaming UFO?
Oh, man.
And then finally, the UFO explodes.
So Eddie, like all of the interesting storylines they could have gone in, none of them happened. Not a single one.
Yeah. Nope.
And I'm assuming we make that bomb because the colonel has the information. And just make it happen, right?
And there's
then
no
we
other
finally-
aliens. This is just the only ship, right? There's no one else to come in and finish
They
the
all
job.
left. They all left, right?
Probably.
The head honcho guy took the other two ships and got out of there. Call me when you've conquered the planet. I'm getting out of here.
And we end with Chriswell talking about aliens and how we used to laugh at all the ideas that have, like the television, which have since been invented. So obviously we can't laugh at aliens.
It's like a Twilight Zone kind of thing. Like,
Well, he was right. I didn't laugh at all in this movie.
No, this movie was just.
I laughed at some of the like terrible special effects.
Yeah.
Why, Wally, did you do this to us?
Wally.
Because I knew how bad Ed Wood was, and I wanted to see how bad this was.
The movie Ed Wood wasn't that bad, was it? Am I misremembering?
No, Edward was good.
I thought that
Is that
movie,
right?
the movie Ed
I
Wood
thought
was
it
interesting.
bad.
It wasn't
I think it was
good.
terrible.
No,
We thought it was bad.
no,
I don't think the movie Ed Wood, the movie about Ed Wood, is that bad.
no.
It's not great, but it's fun and weird. I
The
don't
thing
know.
is Ed Wood obviously loved movies, but he wasn't good at making movies.
No.
It's like if Mike tried to make a movie.
That's it, yeah, essentially.
It's kind of like this podcast. We like
Like,
the podcast.
will you, can you spend 5 minutes to make us a 5-minute movie about anything this week?
Sure.
See if you can do better?
Yeah. I'll make a movie about my dog.
Yes,
Perfect.
make us a
Oh,
movie about your
Bubbles
dog.
is going to be the heel. I can see it already.
Oh man, I get there's some Bubbles stories
Oh,
to tell.
Bubbles.
He's famous on Facebook constantly in our
wait, he's famous.
on our community Facebook group constantly. Hey, whose cat is this? Is he anyone's cat? The fat son of a bitch goes and like pretends he's homeless and gets fed all over the neighborhood.
That fat son of a bitch.
Brilliant. It's brilliant.
Oh man. Oh man. Bubbles.
Yeah,
He's all you got, though.
yeah. Me and him.
This wasn't Ed Wood's first movie either. He had done 3 others before this. And 2 more after this. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Didn't he die in what, like the 80s?
He made porn for a while.
Well, there you go.
The
Did he?
60s and 70s, he moved toward pornographic film and wrote over 80 sex novels.
Jesus Christ.
All of his stuff notable for campy aesthetics, technical errors, and unsophisticated special effects. Use of terrible stock footage, terrible casts, stories that make no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, nailed every one of those.
In 1980, he posthumously won the Golden Turkey Award for Worst Director of All Time.
That's
Wow.
kind of a dickhead move.
Wow.
Kick him when he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
The man's
Uh,
dead.
Not
You
even
give
down.
him-
He's dead.
What are you, dead?
Jesus.
Let's give you a trophy about how dumb you are.
Oh,
Yikes.
that's rough.
When did he die?
All right, let's stop talking about this terrible stuff.
I just want to find out when he died.
Okay.
Who's
So
up
next?
next?
Is it Bill?
78. Bill's
I
up.
think
next.
it's me.
78.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, it is you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right, well, not to be outdone by Wally, we're going to watch a silent film featuring George Hackenschmidt on working out.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. We're going to watch a
Oh.
movie that I think is good. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I guess we'll see. Thanks to our good friend Zeus, Tommy Lister,
Who always delivers.
we're going to watch Fifth Element.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
that's
Good.
Bruce Willis, isn't it?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Bruce Willis. Yeah.
Bruce Willis.
But of course, Tommy Lister in this case plays President
president.
Lindbergh. Yeah,
Yes,
he's
he's-
the president.
He's the
president.
Chris
president.
Rock is in it. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Rock as
That's
Oh,
that
man.
movie. Okay. Yeah.
Ruby Rocket.
Is this the movie with the orange-haired lady?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lilu?
now I remember.
Lilu.
Yeah.
Lilu, yep.
Gary
It's
Oldman.
good. I know it's super weird, but I feel like I enjoyed it. I don't
Oh
remember.
yeah, it's a very weird movie. This is Luc Besson, who did Taken, and he's done a bunch of other stuff.
You made
Yeah.
Taken too?
Yeah,
Wow,
Luc Besson.
Oh, I didn't know that.
that's a long.
He's still doing movies.
Is he really?
Just recently did that movie that was bad. Valerian and the something.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing and the stuff and Valerian.
Yeah, Valerian.
Well, Takens aren't that old. At least
Yeah.
he
No,
did
Taken-
what, like 4 of
Yeah.
them.
Is
Well,
it
he
four?
did the one, I think.
Oh, he didn't do the rest of them.
Wow.
I
Metacritic.
believe this is available to watch on the Hulu's.
Oh, right.
Only with a premium subscription, though.
I don't think so. I think it's on Regs.
It's on Regs. Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure, but I think.
Let's see. This guy. Trying to find what he directed. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
Yes. He's directed Lucy with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that either.
Madonna.
Lucy.
Wasn't that partially filmed here? Or no, that was Salt. That
When
was Salt.
was what the hell? When was it's not showing?
It's in the late 90s.
It's not showing Taken.
I thought he did Taken.
Not showing it. Did he write Taken?
Maybe he just wrote Taken. Ah.
Oh, we can do a watch party on Hulu.
I was going to suggest that.
A
'Cause I
watch
saw
party?
that.
Yeah.
How does that work? Like,
Yeah,
I
he
don't know.
did he write Taken?
he wrote Taken. Yep. Sorry.
He wrote. Oh, Taken came out in 08. Okay, he wrote fucking La Femme Nikita.
Yes.
That's
yes.
wrestling on its own right there. That show was on after Raw every week.
Basically.
Well, he wrote the movie, the original movie, Nikita, and then the character was based on.
Based on characters by the
Yes.
movie Nikita.
Yes.
Whatever. All right, fine. Transporter. That's a good movie.
I don't think
So-
I watched that.
With what's his name? Statham. Those are
Oh,
good
yeah,
movies.
yeah.
Those are fun movies, right?
I almost said Bruce Willis, but I was saying wrong bald head guy.
Okay, we'll figure out how to find it. I don't know what this Hulu watch party stuff is. I
All
have
you
Hulu.
do-
It is on Hulu though. It is on Hulu.
And
Oh,
it's
it
on Amazon Prime too,
Oh, is it?
where like you just watch it at the same time. You know, you're sitting
Yeah.
there in front of it, watch it, then you can like type back and forth. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
he wrote and directed this one.
Yeah. Luc Besson.
Fun stuff. All right.
It's real wacky. I do remember that.
Yep.
Have you seen it before? I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I've
But
seen
I
it.
have.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
been a
seen
while.
it.
Okay. Yeah, this is weird.
The Fugly.
Fugly sweater is kind of weird. It's very holiday hoppy.
Interesting
Yeah.
combo.
If you're not into that, watch out. All right, this is over. Peace out.
See ya.